Hi everyone. Today we are going to start our last lesson for the What a Story module. We are going to start reading the story, The Poem That Will Not End, Fun with Poetic Forms and Voices by Joan Bransfield Graham and illustrated by Kirsten Brooker. We're going to meet the author and illustrator. The author, Joan Bransfield Graham, is an award-winning author and poet. As a former teacher, she understands children and relates to them. She has delivered many presentations in schools because she wants to inspire students to think creatively and write poetry. The illustrator, Kirsten Brooker, has always loved drawing and painting and wanted to be an artist as a child. After a short time working as an interior designer, she decided to follow her dreams and try to be an illustrator. Since then, Kirsten has illustrated more than 20 children's books. As we prepare to read our story, we need to know a little bit more about poetry. Poetry uses the sounds and rhythms of words to show images and express feelings. Poems include sound effects, such as rhyme, rhythm, and meter to reinforce the meaning of the poem. Not all poems rhyme, but they all have a rhythm. Poems include word sounds such as alliteration, automatopoeia, repetition, and parallel structure to emphasize particular words or ideas. Poems include figurative language to develop ideas. Poems might be organized into stanzas or a series of lines grouped together. Each stanza builds upon what is described in the previous stanza. So our job today is I can explain the use of sound devices and figurative language in a poem. So these are all parts of the elements of poetry. Poetry can tell a story, describe a situation, or appeal to the senses. So when we're thinking about poems, we'll think about structure, which the structure of a poem, we might see some line breaks, which means where each line of text ends. Or we might think of stanzas, which is a group of lines within the poem. Poets might use literary devices, such as rhyming words, which are words that have the same ending sounds as the end lines or stanzas. Rhythm, which is a pattern of stressed syllables that create a beat. Imagery, which are words that create images that appeal to the senses. Alliteration, which is when we use the same sound or letter at the beginning of words or lines. Automatopoeia are words that imitate the sound it represents, like buzz or thud. And repetition are lines or words that are repeated to stress importance. So as we're reading our poem, you're really going to be on the lookout for those literary devices. The Poem That Will Not End. Fun with Poetic Forms and Voices. So I am on page 145 in my Into Reading book. So as I'm reading, I'm going to be thinking about questions that I can ask myself and try and find the answers so that I can really understand what I'm reading. After most poems in this selection, you'll see a label that identifies the poem's form. You'll learn more about these forms in Ryan O'Brien's Guide to Poetic Forms at the end of the selection. It started with a rhythm and a rhyme. It wouldn't let me stop. It ate up all my time. Rhythm. I was seized by a rhythmical beat. It was something I could not delete. I went crazy with rhyme. It just gobbled my time. Had me clapping and tapping my feet. Limerick. I tried to eat my breakfast, but didn't hesitate to scribble on the napkins and doodle across my plate. Going bananas. Baby brother loves to smear banana every place, then squeeze it through his fingers and wipe it on his face. He blows banana bubbles and makes banana goo. Oh, yuck. Ugh. Ew. What a mess. I'd like to do that too. Quatrains. So as I read this first section, I'm going to ask myself, who is the main character of this story? And if I look back to the very first part, I'm going to guess that Ryan O'Brien is the main character of the story. Then I'm going to think to myself, where is this story taking place? Well, by looking at the pictures, it looks like this story is taking place at Ryan O'Brien's house. Why did the poet write these poems? Well, from this very first section, it seems like he can't really help himself. He's writing poems because he's hearing sounds and creating poetry wherever he goes. It teased me as I walked to school. I scrawled on Eddie's shirt. Footprints. Smooth patch of white snow stretched out before watchful eyes. An invitation. Ryan O'Brien. Haiku. And when we hit the playground, I scratched words in the dirt. The baseball game. The kids creamed the teachers. Listened to the score. The third graders beat them 25-4. We got them out at second. We caught their pop flies. We got them out at home plate, much to their surprise. When we scored all the home runs, we screamed and made a fuss. We may get D's in English, but in baseball, we're A+. Quatrains. Then, in the cafeteria, with just 2 tasty tries, between my lunch and Amy's, I wrote 2 lines with fries. Couplet for French fries. 2 lines are not enough to express how much I adore your potato-ness. Couplet. I ran outside at recess, pulled out a piece of chalk, didn't waste a minute, dashed poems on the walk. Recess. Rambunctious excitement centering around excessive silly stuff. Acrostic. Captured. I'm captured. Won't you help me find a way to free me from this urgent need to write? It follows me and hounds me night and day. I'm captured. Won't you help me find a way to toss aside this curse? I want to play. You must admit, this is a scary sight. I'm captured. Won't you help me find a way to free me from this urgent need to write? Triolet. I beg you, won't you help me? Please help me be a friend. Rescue me. I'm captured. This poem will not end. The bell rang and I bolted. Wasn't running out of steam. I wrote with mud out in the yard, chased by the soccer team. Soccer ball. Soccer ball. You are the center, sun of our universe. We are planets orbiting your supreme presence, hoping to rocket you like a blazing comet into the galaxy of our goal. Concrete, free verse. So we're going to pause there today.